What's going on, people? Welcome back again. Nick J. Francis channel. West Ham 2, Arsenal 2. And that game was just dead. That was just like, it was dead. Back-to-back games where we've dropped points, we've drawn, when we've been 2-0 up twice. And there is really nothing to like about the whole game. We have 10-15 minutes of like supercharged, Super Saiyan energy, and then it's dead. We empty the gas tank like Joe Joyce, and it's just dead after that. Like, I don't even know what to say. Once we lack concentration, that's the difference. I don't know if it comes from the manager or the players. The players haven't been at this level before. And this is what we're starting to see at the moment with this Arsenal team, is lacking concentration. Twice, we've not just been 2-0 up, but we've been 2-0 up in complete control of the game. It's not like we're 2-0 up and it's lucky and it's a penalty or it's a scrappy goal. We've been 2-0 up clear against Liverpool, away from home against Liverpool, and then away from home against West Ham, and we lose concentration. You know, we let them get back into the game really, really easily, and we do not win second balls. The biggest problem I have with this team is we do not win second balls. We're not a very big physical team. And so when the ball's in the air, we're probably going to lose the first ball to a Mikel Antonio or to a Declan Rice or someone like that. But once the ball's down on the deck, we've got to start winning that ball back. And we just do not do it. When we're dominating the ball, it's totally fine. But out of possession, we look awful. So when we go and play a Man City, we can't have any confidence because we're not going to dominate the ball. We need some physicality. We need some battles and some duels. And the mentality of the players is just not there when we're 2 up twice. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. No concentration, no mentality. That's the problem. And this team's been amazing all season. It's not like, you know, I think that we are capable of winning a Premier League title. We're capable of winning trophies with this team. You know, there is more levels to go. But at the moment, they look not just physically tired, but mentally tired as well. And that is the thing that separates a Man City team or Liverpool teams the past few seasons with us at the moment, that where they had that mental relentlessness. And where does that come from? It has to come from the manager. Yes, it's going to come from the players themselves, but the manager has to instill that in the team, and that is what's lacking. Twice, back-to-back games of giving away stupid, sloppy penalties. This one they converted. Last week they missed it. This time we get a penalty and Gabby Jesus is holding the ball, and I'm like, cool, Gabby Jesus is going to take the penalty. Then Saka takes the penalty, and it's an awful penalty. It's way wide of the mark. It's bending away. It's terrible. He didn't look comfortable walking up to it. People were messaging me just before the penalty saying, Gabby Jesus better take this. Saka has obviously scored big penalties for us in the past. And, you know, since the England penalty that he missed, he's come back and he's been scoring penalties. But this one, I just thought it should have been Gabriel Jesus. And that's not hindsight. We said it at the time. It should be Gabriel Jesus. Saka takes it. He misses it. Awful, awful penalty. And he's also been really quiet in back-to-back games. He's one of our best players. But the whole point of us bringing in players like Trossard, the whole point of Reece Nelson scoring 93rd minute winners, the whole point of having these man is that we can rotate. It's going to drop the quality a little bit, but we can adjust, we can compensate. What we don't want to do is run him into the ground completely and then rotate. With Gabby Martinelli, when he started to drop a little bit, he didn't drop completely. He dropped to 70%, 60% of his normal standards. We rotated him. Trossard came in and immediately took up that mantle, and then Gabby Martinelli came back when he was rejuvenated. And with Saka, we've let him go down to 80%, down to 60%, down to 50, 40, 30%, and doesn't quite look himself. You look at the penalty miss, and then you look at the opportunity that he had where he tries to cut in. He's got plenty of options on his left-hand side. He's trying to do it on his own. I don't know how much of that is contract related or how much of that is compensating for the penalty. You know, and I appreciate the hard work. He's one of our best players. We all absolutely love him, but he is not above being rotated. You know, there are so many things. The substitutions, once again, I've talked all season. I haven't criticised Mikel Arteta too much this season because we've been winning games, but I've said all season, my biggest problem with Arteta is the lack of rotation. He doesn't rotate enough, doesn't rotate the players enough, doesn't make substitutions early enough. He's not proactive enough. I gave him a bly in previous seasons because we didn't have the squad. Now we've got the squad. Now we've got the players. Rotate these players. The substitutions come on so late. If you're Reece Nelson, after the Bournemouth game, you haven't been able to get a look in ever since. And then when you do get a look in, you're given 5 minutes against the West Ham team who are looking for a point, who are sitting deep away from home. You've got 5 minutes, go and do something. He actually came on and looked quite good, Reece Nelson, but you had a feeling that if he had 15 or 20 minutes, maybe he could create another Bournemouth moment. He can't do it with 5 minutes left in the game. It's just not enough time. Saka can be rotated. We had Trossard came on instead of over Jesus. Trying to play the Jesus role didn't work. Jesus should have stayed on. Trossard should have come to the right-hand side and Saka should have come off. Martinelli looked reasonably sharp. Trossard was playing okay, but out of position. Gabby Jesus was our best player. Why did he come off? I don't know if it's concerns about the injury maybe, but there's no reason he should have come off. Trossard is a final third player. He's the guy you want creating chances or scoring chances. He's way back in our own half, passing the ball about with Ben White and Jorginho. No idea why he's there. Completely out of position and a new role for him. He can play anywhere in the front three. He can't play DM. I don't know why he's there trying to do the Gabby Jesus role. That's not a role he plays and not a role that he's comfortable with. Strange decision for me. Starts picking up the ball deep and trying to run through the whole West Ham team. It's not going to work. Physicality, I spoke about second balls already. Physicality, once Thomas Partey goes off, there is no physicality in our midfield at all. Jorginho is a quality player, but he's not physical. Erdegaard's an amazing player, not physical. Xhaka lacks physicality sometimes as well. He's not the strongest. And then we have Fabio Vieira coming on. There's no physicality in that midfield. Once Partey goes off, the midfield is dusted against a big, strong physical team, against players like Paqueta and Antonio and these types of players. There's nothing in there. They win every single second ball, and then we just start to see ourselves getting overrun and overrun and overrun because Thomas Partey isn't there. That's what makes him such a good midfield player, is how much we lack him when he's not there. And then obviously I mentioned Jesus goes off, which he shouldn't have. We have no target man in the box. We're trying to whip crosses into the box. We've got, Trossard's decent in the air. He's a very good player, but he's much better with the ball at feet. We've got Reece Nelson, Saka, Trossard. We've got Erdegaard, Vieira. Who are we whipping balls into the box for? I'm confused. We've got no target man. We do eventually realise that and bring on a target man in Eddie Nketiah, but he's got about 30 seconds to go and get on the end of something. One cross comes in and it doesn't come off, and we're leaving it too late. And those are the things that, to me, these are really, really simple things. This Arteta guy should know this squad. Saka cannot be above being dropped or rotated. If we took off, I honestly think we leave Jesus on, we take Saka off, we bring Trossard on the right-hand side, even if we still wanted to bring Martinelli off and bring Reece Nelson on and give that a go. Trossard on the right, Nelson on the left, who looked quite good, Jesus up top, Erdegaard or Fabio Vieira in the 10, and then we can maybe look at something that they can all do that rotation thing that they do. But this, no target man, no Jesus, Trossard way back with our defenders for some reason. Saka looking really lacking confidence after the penalty miss. Didn't quite have it in him to rebuild himself and get back. He will rebuild himself long term, but just in this particular game, the whole thing was a shambles. And then when we did need a goal, we've got 5 minutes at a time. We had plenty of time to get the goal in normal time, but we did get 5 minutes at a time, and we're playing around with the ball at the back, like flipping. I don't even understand what we're trying to do. We're just knocking the ball sideways. Again, one of the things that Thomas Partey can do and that Erdegaard can do, and they're the only two people in our team that can do it, is drop, receive the ball on the half turn and set us away. Xhaka cannot do it. He's too rigid. He can hold the ball up and pass it off whatever way he's facing, but he can't receive it on the half turn. Once Thomas Partey comes off, there's nobody to receive the ball on the half turn. Jorginho can't receive the ball on the half turn. He could do it on the odd occasion, but he cannot do it consistently. He's typically going to receive the ball and generally play the ball in the direction that he's facing. Maybe he gives himself a bit of a 45-degree angle to look either side, but Partey can spin on the whole 180 and set us away. So can Erdegaard. And then, again, another quiet game for Erdegaard. He wasn't great against Liverpool. He wasn't great today, same as Saka, not great against Liverpool, not great today. And so we have one more league game before we play Man City, and we need to see some rotation. We need to see a reaction, and we need to see some rotation, and we need to see some urgency. Late on in the game when we really need the goal, as the game was going on and as the minutes were ticking away, you'd expect to see the urgency rise and rise and rise with regards to crosses, shots, even speculative shots, long distance shots, more crosses in the box. And I didn't see it. We played very one pace, a steady pace all the way through, but we need to be seeing that urgency go up as the time's ticking on. You know, we can put pressure on them. I don't think the West Ham defence were more rattled at 92 minutes than they were at 72 minutes, and that's a problem because we need to be putting pressure on them more at 92 minutes than we did at 72 minutes. You know, the substitutions were big mistakes. The players coming on the pitch and off the bench weren't mistakes, but the way they were deployed and the time they were given, it wasn't enough time. You know, I don't even know what more to say about that. We need to change this mentality, and we need to change this mentality now. We now need to go to the Etihad and have to win. We have to win. You know, there's nothing. Well, we don't have to win, but you know, we really need to win. We're not going to dominate the ball. That's the biggest problem that we have. You know, we dominate the ball so much all season that when we play a game when we don't dominate the ball, we're not quite sure what to do. We don't look like we've had enough practice not dominating the ball. It's only happened 2 or 3 times this season. We're not really used to it, and we look very uncomfortable. Any positives from the game? We start fast. We start really quickly, and we know we need to be making the right adjustments throughout the game, you know, and not lack that. You know, it was pretty. I was getting gassed myself. Once we went 2-0 up, I was seeing back heels and flicks and tricks coming off from Martinelli, and you know, back heel flicks from Ødegaard and letting the ball run through his legs and all the rest of it. But 2-0 in the Premier League is not enough to showboat. Not against Liverpool and not against West Ham and not really against anybody, to be honest with you. 4, 5, 6-0. That's the difference. Once Man City are 2-0 or 3-0 up, they stay doing exactly what they were doing before. They don't change anything. They don't start doing flicks and tricks. They do exactly what they were doing and stick to that plan. If this plan is working, you stick with it. For us, we play like a really young, inexperienced team because we go 2-0 up, and then we change the game plan. We change our style. It gets to our heads. We start doing stuff we wouldn't normally do. We have to stick to what it is that we're good at and just keep driving that home. And it may even be a little bit boring and drive away creativity, but that's how we get league titles, and that's how we go and get trophies. Another positive was Tierney. I thought Tierney was pretty good today. You know, the guy I worry about him every challenge because he does look like he's made of glass and is always susceptible to getting injured. But he's trying to take a step up in that Zinchenko role, step into midfield or step centrally, come out of his and receive the ball and start to play the ball off and start creating things. I thought he was really good at learning that role from Zinchenko because Zinchenko got an injury in the groin. So, you know, hopefully that's not a long-term thing. But I thought he wasn't bad. You know, Gabriel was in the wars today. He did what he could. He didn't have a huge amount of support defensively because Tierney was helping with the attack a lot. So, and obviously he's got Rob Holding next to him. So he had to take on a lot of responsibility today, Gabriel, and did look overrun. But I do think that he didn't do too badly given the amount of responsibility that he had. Ben White was another negative, you know, just not doing it once again, you know. He's such a good player. He can just lose interest sometimes, you know. He doesn't look like he has the fight in these types of games to fight his way back. And maybe that's unfair because he was involved heavily for the fight back against Bournemouth. But, you know, today in Liverpool just looked like he was quite resigned to the draw rather than really pushing on. His passing has really detracted in the last couple of weeks. I'm trying to think of any other positives. Gabby Jesus gets another goal, comes back from injury, scoring lots of goals, scoring pretty much every week since he's back from injury. He needs to be in the game for much longer. 70, 80 minutes. He needs to be in the game as long as possible, especially against a Man City team and these types of teams. He's got to be in that game longer. And I think those are the only real positives, really, to be honest with you. I think, you know, again, Reece Nelson looked very tidy. He looked dangerous. He looked confident when he came on. He really wants his opportunities. You can see that. He's probably, in terms of taking a player on, I think he one-on-one taking a player on with feet and skills and pace. I think he might be the best at that at our club and maybe the most direct. Gabby Martinelli's direct, but he looks to run past people more than use skill to beat them. And if you've got the pace to do that, that's fine. Saka is more of a pass and move player rather than using skill. Again, he can do it, but it's not his natural game. Reece Nelson looks to really enjoy that. Drop the shoulder, get past someone and try and make things happen. He's not quite as tidy as Saka, and he's not as raw and young and doesn't have the potential of Martinelli, but I'd like to see him involved a lot more. His threat on both wings, shots and crosses is really underrated, and if somebody isn't performing on that wing position, you know, he needs to be in there. Trossard is more of a tidy, he can retain the ball, he's more experienced, he's much more sensible, but Reece Nelson is that raw young winger that I want to be seeing get more minutes. So we have to see a big reaction. The only way this is going to be salvageable, we can't expect to win league titles if we're not going to go to Liverpool or Man City and take points from them. We've gone to Liverpool and taken a point from them. We need to do the same at the Etihad. Obviously, if we are on a 1-1 or a 2-2, then anything can happen. That third goal can go to anybody. But we need to be going there and taking some kind of points away from these clubs. Otherwise, there's no way we're going to win league titles, and we don't really deserve to if we can't compete at the top level. So we have to get back to this. I don't know what we're going to do with Saka. I don't know why his head seems to be dropping. Obviously, today it was the penalty miss, but Liverpool, he was quiet as well. We've asked a lot of him so far this season. We all love him and support him. I don't want to sound negative, but just at this moment in time, with a few games left, we need a little bit more. And if it is a question of rotation, rotate him like we did with Gabby Martinelli. Get Trossard started on the right-hand side. Bring Saka off the bench for the last 15, 20 minutes. Let him get that hunger back. Let him run at tired legs and hopefully get a goal or assist and get that hunger back in him. But today overall, poor day at the office against West Ham, who are struggling. Once we're 2-0 up, we should be seeing them off with 4s and 5s. Maybe they get a consolation goal, the penalty, handball, whatever the case may be, fine. But we shouldn't be dropping like that. We let them get far too much confidence. And again, at 2-1, is when we missed the penalty at 2-1, and that solidified our situation really. But we have to be more proactive. We have to get our subs on a lot earlier. And Gabby Jesus for me is the key. If there's one player at the moment that needs to stay on the pitch as long as possible, it's him and Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey and Gabriel at the spine. And what we can't do, what we keep doing is removing the spine of the team. We've needed so long a solid number 9, a versatile number 9. We have that. A solid, versatile DM. We have that. A great centre back that we have in Gabriel. And every game we take 2 of them off. Partey comes off, Jesus comes off, and then the spine of the team is gone. We need to be 3 or 4 goals up before we do that. And the team need to understand that. We're relying too much on our wingers, and we're not respecting the spine of that team. So that's all I got time for now. Bit of a rant, as you'd expect. But yeah, the pressure is really on. The rival fans are going to get on us. They're going to be celebrating. Everybody wants to see Man City win. Don't know why. That's how much people hate us, and that's perfectly fine. I don't mind that at all. So yeah, a bit of a rant today, as expected. But we need a big reaction in our next game before we go and play at the Etihad.